Welcome to the Black and Gold Report here on OaklandHockey.org. Corey Haggett here with you. We are joined by the color analyst. We're keeping it in-house here this week for the Grizzlies, and that is Matt Kenzie. Thanks for joining us here, Matt.
No problem, Corey.
And then, first of all, Matt, second semester starting this weekend at Western Michigan. What are your overall thoughts on the semester?
Overall, I think it's at that point where I think players, coach, parents, just fans listening in, know that I think it's time that the team's got to step up because now we've reached the second semester and we're going to be playing some tough games and doing some tough road trips. And I think the team knows that they got to bring it to the next level. And it's going to be interesting as we start off Friday, heading out to Western Michigan for a two-game series.
Let's kind of go player by player here a little bit, something different. As we'll talk first about goaltender Corey Hirschchuk. For me, I think he's a guy that can carry the team to the promised land and where they want to be. I think he's a very good goalie, and I think that in the second semester we're going to see him getting a little more help in terms of guys sacrificing the body, and there's a great opportunity for him to step up and rise up. What are your thoughts on Hirschchuk?
Oh, definitely. In the first semester, he was excellent. Gave up a few bad goals here or there, but every time he would give up one in game, he just put it behind him, as you could see. And overall, he played great. And like you just said, he's the guy probably to carry this team. And hopefully he does, a repeat of what he did in the first semester here in the second, because this team's going to need him big time for these upcoming games.
And then moving on here, we'll try to just do a little something on everybody because there's a lot of players to go through. Will be forward Ryan Rotundi. He's a freshman this year. He's getting some time on the power play here. I think he's a guy that can really come into his own in the second semester. He caught fire toward the end there. Hopefully he can continue to do that and develop into one of the premier players that you and I have him pinpointed as.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he started off a little bit slow, but that's how some freshmen do that when they start off in the when they start off playing on a new team and whatnot. But he definitely, as the season has progressed, you can see little things like relaxing when he gets the puck instead of just going with it and trying to make a play. If he sees somebody, he ends up getting a good pass to set up a good play. And overall, he has stepped up his game. You can see he's getting more relaxed, and he's another player that we're keeping our eye on to see what he does. But overall, I think he's getting impressive as the games go on with him.
Yeah, Rotundi being good in the second semester is going to be key to their national chances. I'll tell you that much. Defenseman Will Shire, he had the shootout winner and at Wayne State there. What was that, a month ago now, it seems like? And, it's been a while. So I think Will Shire's a steady, solid defenseman. He's a guy who's going to have to make sure that he's just doing everything that you want a defenseman to do. Be smart with the puck, great breakout passes, just limiting the turnovers, things like that. And I think that with him doing all those, because Will Shire's not going to go in, and that's not his job, is to put up a bunch of points. But thoughts on Shire?
Yeah, he gets it done, and that's the main thing. And what he did, he finally also killed our whole thing of losing when it came to shootouts, and that was one record that he wanted to end, and he did it at Wayne State.
And I know Shire will be the first to say to me that, I'm a guy that does want to put up points and that can put up points. So, you know how those guys are.
Yep, for sure.
Mike Baker, the defenseman. We got to love Mike Baker. He's just a steady presence back there on the blue line. He's a guy that goes to bat for his team and for everybody, actually. One of the nicest guys you'll meet away from the rink. And I think that the things that he does out there pretty much helps out the team in every way. He's tough. He makes the smart passes. He goes into those areas, and he's also a guy that, if need be, which I don't think they're going to need to, but he can play forward, and he's made the transition to defense nicely. What do you think about Mike Baker?
Yeah, he definitely does things that you want from a defenseman. One of the things I notice about him, too, is sometimes you'll get a defenseman that when a key face-off is about to happen and they know that their position and role is that they got to win the face-off and they got to be smooth with it and not, get a little bit nervous and everything. He looks confident, and, as the season progresses, most of these players, they're getting better and better. Even the seniors, sometimes you start off slow, but he's a defenseman that, like I said, when he gets the puck, he's relaxed, he's able to set up plays, and he doesn't get too nervous. Sometimes he'll get rattled, but for the most part, he stays on it. And I think our defense, both Bakers actually are really stepping up, and I think we're going to see some even more athleticism and accuracy better once the second semester gets going here on Friday.
Matt Kenzie joining us here on the Black and Gold Report on OaklandHockey.org, talking about the Grizzly players. Next up, Forward Mike McKinnon, he's another guy who, when we started the year, we were very excited about, and he's certainly come on as of late. And he's a guy that I'd love to see on every single power play right out in front of the net because he's a guy that's going to get a ton of points doing it that way, and he's a guy that can score. He's a good-sized player out there, and I don't know if there's anything about Mike McKinnon's game that you can hate. But just your thoughts on Mike McKinnon.
I like it when there's a scruff along the boards, and he goes at it like there's no tomorrow. That's one of the things I like about him. He, like you said, he's getting a lot of points, and it's those little things of just getting in when you got to get a little scruff in with the boards with the other team. He gets in there. Sometimes he'll go right for the net, or sometimes he'll look and do whatever it takes to get the puck to whoever's open. And he's just been excellent. I think every freshman has been good, but him especially, just getting those points for the team and doing what he needs to do, and he can only go up from here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, next up on the list is defenseman Cody Farber, string of bad luck with injuries for the first semester for Cody, and he's a guy who can be just, we talk about steady presences back on the blue line. That is Cody Farber. He's got the A on his sweater. He's certainly a leader out there, and he's a guy that they're going to need to stabilize the blue line. It's going to be very important, and you'll hear us talk about a lot of that, is that stabilizing the blue line, giving Hurschuk and Munoz a chance to see the puck. What are your thoughts on Cody Farber?
Farber, it's been tough for him this season with the injuries, but it's good to have him back and whatnot. I think he's probably still going to be a little bit rusty from here and from time to time. But now that he's back, I think he's definitely going to get better. And he's kind of, to me, like a wild card because now you put him in the mix with the defenseman, but he is a junior, so he does know what he's doing. And I think it won't take too long before he gets into the mix and knows, which line he's going to be on and be able to gel with that person, whether it's Mike Baker, John Baker, or whatever. I think he's going to bring more, of an advanced kind of more of like some depth to the defense role, and it's pretty good to have him back, I'd say. So we'll see what happens for him, but I can only imagine that it's going to be good things.
Basically, for Farber, it's like a trade deadline acquisition that you traded a top prospect to get, and you have a steady guy like Cody Farber who knows what he's doing out there.
Yep.
Next up, Anthony Kalitsa. He is tied for the team lead in points with the next guy we're going to talk about, Billy Ballant. Anthony Kalitsa just does, everything right. I mean, I don't know what I can find about Anthony Kalitsa's game that I can say isn't very good. And I know we're doing this on the official site, so we're not going to be criticizing anybody here, but he's a guy that, 10 goals, that would be the only thing, too, is that I'm surprised that he only has 10 goals. He's a guy that I think could have maybe 20 goals at this point, not to put too much pressure on him, but, I really think he's going to go on a tear. I think we'll see him get a bunch of points here in the next coming weeks and things like that, but he's a guy that slows it down on the power play. He really is just careful with what he's doing on the power play, and he's a guy that is just a phenomenal talent to have out there and one of the best players in the league, Matt.
He's fun to watch. I'm going to say that right now. He gets the puck and he gets time to what he wants to do, whether it's, take it down or set up a play. He is fun to watch. He'll make some moves out there that'll make your head spin and whatnot. And, like you said, and it's just going to get better and better for this kid. And like I said, every player's probably going to step their game up now. And if he steps his game up even more and relaxes out there, there's going to be some ESPN highlights, I kind of like to say, with what he can do out on the ice. So we're going to see, but I got a feeling we're going to see some a lot more fun moves by him that's going to lead to some goals.
We've seen some ESPN or TSN Turning Point highlights from Anthony Kalitsa already. Next up, Team USA himself, Billy Ballant, and he is, a tough kid out there on the ice. He's a pure goal scorer. He's a sniper, whatever you want to say, and he's just, we talk about one of the best players with Kalitsa, then you go straight down to Billy Ballant, and that's the thing about this team is that there's so much offensive firepower that I think the sleeping giant's going to wake up here pretty soon and be led by Billy Ballant.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Team USA, Billy Ballant, he's back for the team. And what we saw him do was just amazing on TV and everything. And now it's like you said, it's going to bring up a more depth out of the team and waking up a sleeping giant. It's just an all-around good player, and we're lucky to have him on this team. And can't wait to see him come back here in the second semester. I think he's going to bring a lot more depth, and he's probably going to help some of the players with his knowledge. And it's just going to be great to have him back because it's somebody that I think is going to have an even bigger role for the second semester and just all around. So I can't wait to have him back, and we'll see what happens.
One of the most key players that is going to have to step it up the most here in the second semester is going to be Ian Jacobs. He's going to be relied upon a ton on the defensive end, a ton providing offense on the defensive end, and he's lucky that he's got guys, and I mean that in the best way possible, that he's got guys such as a Mike Baker, who we already talked about, a Will Shire back there, and a Cody Farber back there to help him out. And he is a pretty good defenseman, is Ian Jacobs, but we're going to need to see him take his pretty good defenseman to an elite defenseman status here in the second semester. And he's the guy that you can tell once he gets it going. Again, I always forget this about Ian Jacobs. He's only played a year and a half now. And so he's developing each and every day. And I'm really looking forward to seeing his progress. 4 goals, 6 assists for Jacobs here. And especially on the power play, he's got 3 goals out of his 4. And for that to continue, he's going to have to continue to develop. And I really think he's really going to be a special defenseman here, Matt.
Yeah. There's definitely a little bit of pressure put on him, but I think he can do it. I think he knows what he's got to do. The time is now, and I think he can do it. Like you said, he's been now for a year and a half playing. Jacobs knows he's a smart kid, and he's I think definitely going to step his game up, and he knows that he has to. And I don't really, and I say this with the all honesty, I don't think that he's going to have a bad second semester. I think he's actually going to break out with his defense role and really help out this team. Our defense is looking like on paper, and I feel it's getting stronger and stronger, and I think it's ready for the second semester, and I think Jacobs is too.
Mike Babcock of the Wings always talks about opportunity, and we talk about that a lot. And opportunity it's right there for Jacobs. He's just got to walk through that door, and I'm very confident that he will. Next up on the list is a guy we don't see a lot out on the ice, but he really is a fourth liner in James Odom. He's a guy that likes to get into the corners and do the dirty things, number 13 for the Grizzlies, and still looking for his first official point, but that's not his role at all, Matt.
Oh, no, for sure. Odom is, he's just a freshman, and he's still learning the basics of, what to do and how this team works. And sometimes you get a little bit of the nervousness when you're being a freshman, but he's getting better and better. And like you said, he's not there to get points. If he gets a goal or an assist, that's awesome. But he's there just to grind it out, make sure that the puck doesn't get by the goalie or get in the net, and make sure that if he can set up a play from the blue line, then so be it. But he's doing his role, and he's just, got to progress a little bit. But, I got confidence in him, and he's getting better and not better with it. But, yeah, not the person that you expect to get goals. If he does, great. But for right now, we just need him to keep doing what he's doing and play physical and beat the puck away from the goaltender.
Halfway through our list here, just about. And number 14, Patrick Smiatez. He's a guy who, I think if there's anybody on this team who can have a breakout, it's going to be Patrick Smiatez. 6 goals, 8 assists here. He's a guy that, you and I view as a goal scorer. And I just think that we're going to see him scoring some goals here. I know he's had some injury situations that haven't kept him out of the lineup, but he's played banged up, so we're going to see him break out, I believe.
I've noticed, too, that he's gotten more aggressive as the season goes on. It seems that if another player from an opposing team kind of gets in his face or tries to, start something with him, it kind of brings out the kind of intensity in him, I want to say, to where he takes his game to a little bit more level to say, hey, you want to, mess with me, I'm going to bring up my game, and I'm going to try to, try harder here to get a goal on you. And I think, though, he's starting to bring that aggressiveness just to every game prior to where it was just when somebody would get in his face and whatnot. But, yeah, like you said, he's starting to really get going here, and if he can keep going, then his game is definitely going to take it to a next level, and he's definitely going to produce some points for this team, whether it's scoring or setting up an assist for a goal.
Next up on the list, the captain, Frank Madiak, number 15. He's got 8 goals and 15 assists, 7 goals on the power play. The one thing we'd like to see with Frank, and I'm sure Frank wants to do this, is to get a couple more even strength goals and obviously pop in a couple more power play tallies. You couldn't ask for a better leader than Frank Madiak. He truly loves to go out there and battle every night. But the thing Frank Madiak loves the most, Matt, is winning. And I can tell you what, in the second semester, he's going to make sure the team's doing a lot of that.
Yeah, and the one thing I talked to him before about, and he told me that since it's his last year, he really wants, to make it count. He takes it very seriously with his role, and like you said, he definitely wants this team to go far, especially in his last year, and he knows that they can. He's very vocal about it, and you can just see it in his demeanor and how he is as a person, that he wants to win, and he wants every game to count, and he wants to go off on a high note. So you can definitely 100% say that this kid wants to and is going to try to improve this team as much as he can, and he is, the leader to be for this team.
And coming up next is number 16, Art Dorr, and Dorr, also a senior here for Oakland, and he's a guy who had that beautiful goal at Davenport, and the guys always get fired up when Arthur goes in and snipes, and certainly he's going to be a key to the team because you need guys like Art Dorr to be guys that step up. He loves to play. I know he wants to play more. He really loves being out there. And those secondary goals, we talk about all the guys, the top-end, top-heavy guys. The secondary goals like Art Dorr are going to be really key. Those are goals that they have to have and that they need, and a guy like Art Dorr certainly can do that for them.
Yeah, he's a player that wants to be out there all the time, and if he gets the opportunity, he takes advantage of it and does what he's got to do. Great overall player, senior again, to where he wants to make a good impression before he goes. And he's just somebody that, again, just wants to try and improve his game. And, once he's out there, he's just going at it full force. He's making sure that he gets the play, set up. And there's nothing really that I can say that's bad. Just he's got to, just improve it more. And I think he will in the second semester. I'm trying to think right now maybe something that he can improve on, but I can't think of nothing on top of my head. But, again, just we'll see what happens and how he gels in the second semester.
All right, Matt Kenzie joining us here on the Black and Gold Report. We're up to number 17, and that is David Merkel. You will not find, and you know what, I challenge you. Let's play chess here. I challenge you to find a better penalty killer in the ACHA than David Merkel. You raise your guy, and I'll just throw up David Merkel. We can play poker with it by raising. You raise whatever you want to raise, and I'll throw in David Merkel. If I didn't screw up the game of poker and chess enough already, we'll talk here about about David Merkel and that he is the one of the most exciting players. He's got speed. He's hard-nosed. He does everything you want to do, and you can just watching him play. He just loves the game. And we talk about guys that love the game. He loves the game of hockey, and he's a true hockey player. And he'll go out there. He'll score goals. He'll set up guys. He'll do whatever he can to win, and you gotta love it because he's a winner.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Again, another senior that wants to leave on a high note, but when he's out there, he's a player that takes it to a different level and a different role on the team where, like you said, you put somebody out there, I'll put my guy out there, kind of like a chess match and everything. He's, somebody that if you're shorthanded, put him out there. He'll step up, knowing from where he'll take it from a 5-on-5 to knowing that it's shorthanded, and now he's going to take it to a different level and act differently. Even when we're on the power play, he'll definitely take it to a new level, knowing, hey, I got that extra man out there. Let's take advantage. Let's try some plays that we know that we can maybe do now that we have that man advantage. And he just basically does what he has to do and then some. And he's the guy that you definitely want out there when you're shorthanded or on a power play because he can help set up plays or he can play the defensive role as well and stop plays from happening. So great player when it comes to the special teams, and again, we'll see what happens in the second semester with him.
All right, my preseason X Factor, Drew Paris. I was actually doing pretty good there with that. 7 goals, 12 assists. He's only played 17 games, and he has 19 points, and he got hurt at some point during that first half, and, he's a guy who I don't think was fully 100% healed up through the whole end of that first semester because You know that he can just score, and that's why we called him the X Factor. And I know I get a lot of grief for calling him the X Factor, but certainly, when you talk about all the balance, the Kalitsas, and all those type of guys up at the top, and then you look at Drew Paris, he's a guy you can slide in nicely in your top six, and he can be great. If you need a boost on your third line to boost other guys, you throw Drew Paris down there. Power play, Drew Paris. You know?
Definitely, and there's nothing wrong with saying the X Factor thing because I kind of agree with it too. I've got to see a little bit more. I know he has the potential, and I think he's going to step up in the second semester. But again, he was coming back from some injury, so sometimes that takes a little bit of time for a player to get going and whatnot. But he definitely has the potential too. If you need to throw him out, on a third line, maybe somebody's missing or kind of injured themselves during the game, we can quickly put him on the second line and even the fourth line and everything. So he's a player that can play every position. I think he's going to get a little bit better, but for right now, I think maybe having the time off going from the first to second semester is going to help him. And then probably as we get going here, he'll start to warm up and get better and better, and he'll just take off from there.
Next up on the list will be a number 21, Nick Rogers, the defenseman. He has been injured, had an injury last year. He missed basically all of last year except, one shift or something like that. Crazy. Just completely unlucky in that regard. And I think it's taken him a little bit of time to get back going. But there's another guy we talk about on defense. You're going to be able to throw Nick Rogers in there, and you're going to be able to do some good things back on the blue line. And that's what you're going to need. The guy is, obviously being a Canadian, he just loves the game of hockey. And I know that's kind of a theme here. And no, right? And right? And he's what don't you love about Nick Rogers? He can be that solid presence. I want to see more of Nick Rogers out there, and I can't wait to see more of Nick Rogers. And I think this weekend and games coming up present a perfect opportunity to get more of Nick Rogers because we want him out there. We want his legs going again, and we want him to be able to and to be that steady presence that we know we can be out there, Matt.
Yeah, Nick Rogers. Like you said, he is a full-out Canadian, and he is proud of it and everything. He plays like one, too, and last year, it was kind of tough on him, and he did help behind the scenes and everything, but you could just see in his eyes that he wanted to play, and he's getting the opportunity now to finally do it, and he goes out there with the heart of a Canadian all the time, just full force. If I get hit, I'm just going to try to shake it off. I'm going to go back on the bench, do what I got to do, and come back out. So Nick Rogers, he's a fun kid. Love to have him always on the team, and we'll see how he does here in the second semester.
Next up, number 22, Matt Sterling. Sterling's a guy who will be playing on your third and fourth lines, and he's a guy who can contribute. He can put the puck in the net here. He's actually been doing more of that a little bit lately. He's got 6 goals and an assist, 7 points in 17 games. Obviously, that's not too bad when you're talking about that he's missed some time, and he's been a guy who's been in and out of the lineup, and he's just a guy that can be steady back there. We talked about it with Art Dorr, and now we're going to talk about it with Matt Sterling, and that's a guy who, you get those goals chipped in back there. They're so important, especially when it's like a 2-1 game, a 1-0 game. Guys like Sterling scoring, and we'll talk about Kilgore later, but those are all just huge, huge things that they can do.
Yeah, another freshman that, can take the role and step up, and like you said, in those 2-1 games or 3-2, and there's the final minutes coming down in the third period, he's a player that can just relax, know that there's just enough time to make up a play or do what you got to do, versus a lot of players or a lot of freshmen especially who tend to get nervous, and we can make silly plays that could end up costing or turning over the puck, which can lead to breakaways and have it to where you're back tied at 2-2. But just overall a freshman that knows his role and is getting better and better, and we'll see with him again. But yeah, he's very I'd say relaxed for a freshman, and if he can learn the game even more, he can become really dangerous out there. So we'll see with him starting up here in Western on Friday.
All right, we got about 7 more guys to go. We have a lot of players on this team. Next up will be number 23, Corson Johnstone. And every time we're out talking about the game or whatever, and something good happens out onto the ice, what do you know? Who is it? It's Corson Johnstone. And
he always seems to come up in the conversation.
Right, he always seems to. And we talk about steady presences on the blue line. I joke around with him about scoring goals, but obviously that's not his role. His role is to not turn over the puck, be steady on that blue line, and just provide solid support, clear people out of the slot, do those type of things. It's similar to a lot of the defensemen here. But I've been more pleasantly surprised in the most positive way possible by Corson Johnstone than I thought I could have been, because my expectations going in was really didn't have anything. I hadn't seen him play, so you don't know too much about him. So you just kind of go in and just say, we'll see what happens. But for that happening, I've been really pleasantly surprised. Just such of a solid player back there.
Yeah, I actually didn't know too much about him, and I wasn't sure how to analyze it at first. But the more he played out there, the more he got his own style going, the more I started to understand him. And he's definitely, again, one of those players that he is a defenseman and everything, but sometimes you got to go up a little bit if a forward gets caught off guard and you're able to see a play. Or he will dig in the corner to win it and then set it back up and get to the point quickly again so he can get in his position to maybe get a shot up. But yeah, Johnstone comes into the conversation with this team, and he's definitely, again, somebody that you can throw around on the blue line just to figure out, could this combination work? Could that combination work? And I think in this second part of the season, you're definitely going to see him maybe get switched around just to see how it works. And he definitely could produce even more points with this team. But again, just somebody that kind of caught me off guard and is playing a really good game thus far.
Talked about opportunity with Ian Jacobs. Big opportunity for Corson Johnstone here. You might as well get us our Johnstone jerseys right away, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of guys who, if we could buy their jerseys, we'd probably buy Alex Frere's jersey for sure. Talk about just a stud out there, right? Amazing player, Alex Frere. He's always just doing something that makes us go, geez, how does he do that, right?
He's amazing to where you just watch and you just can't believe what you're seeing from sometimes.
I mean, I'm a little lost for words here, because he is, you're not going to find a player that can do what he can do, and he scores most of his goals on the power play, as we'll see here. And for Alex Frere this season, he's got only 7 goals. That's the surprising thing about it. 6 more on the power play, and part of it was because he started the season not on some of the top lines, and you move him onto the top lines here, and the kid just breaks out. And I know that they, I think they had him paired with Kalitsa in the Wayne State series, and that was, unless I'm not mistaken there, but that was pretty good. And I would like to see that continue. Throw him with Bill. My gosh, the possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah, he definitely is that started off, on the upper lines, and some guys got to show that they want it and they got to earn it. And he's definitely been one of those players that have done it. And it seems like now, even though he's got, I think he said 7 points here so far in this
7 goals.
Season, yeah, he can get a lot more. And I think he just needs that chance, and he's proving that he wants it. And you put him on that first and second line, and I think he can do some damage for sure with this Oakland team. And I think this kid's just going to get better as this season progresses, and may even start here on Friday with Western too.
And here's another guy that you can talk about, and that is Tommy Kilgore. I know he's a guy that's been in and out of the lineup, and I know he's a guy that is actually pretty much a favorite of you and I, as we really think that he's a guy that can come in and contribute. You talk about that secondary scoring. I know he only has about, 3 goals here so far this season. And, 3 goals, 3 assists here so far this season. But I like his game. I wish he would be a guy that could score a little more. I think we're going to start to see that from him. And again, just like Ian Jacobs, 1.5 years played so far, and just got to kind of take things a little slow with that. I know we get our expectations up really high on certain guys, and I just really like Tommy Kilgore, and I think he's a good presence out there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely Kilgore is a presence out there, and it kind of hurts sometimes to see a player that's really trying his best, but he's just not getting the point productivity that he should be getting, and that does happen sometimes, and Kilgore's been going through it, but everybody knows on the team, we know, the coaches know that he's a player that, has had a little bit of bad luck here and there with not getting the goals, that he's earned but just haven't gotten there. And it's going to come, and I know it's going to come and everything, and sometimes, your season can start out slow, but it can get going, and I know I keep saying that these guys are going to, keep improving here in the second semester, and it's like a broken record, but, it's the truth. With everybody, including Kilgore, their game is definitely going to step up, and some of the players know that it's going to have to, because they got big roles, and now they're bigger, because we've got some tough matches coming up, and a lot of hard road games, including Liberty, that's not too far down the road for this team.
We talk about Cody Farber being like a trade deadline acquisition, and another guy would be Dougie Andrews. Doug Andrews got injured early in the season. He's only played 7 games. He has 2 goals in those 7 games. And I believe in his last game that he played in, he barely played, because I don't know if he was 100% ready to go by that point. But he's a guy that when we looked at, in the summer, guys who are coming in and then toward the fall, he's a guy that was high on our list as a guy that can be a huge point producer, and you have a healthy Doug Andrews, and I think that just changes the dynamics of everything, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to combine those guys and just say that now we're getting more depth, and they're going to bring some depth into this team that really desperately needs it. Last year, I went through it, and you went through it. We went through that injury bug, and somehow we were able to get through it, and this team just improved, and they've stepped up, and we've kind of had that same thing this year, but it just seems like when that happens, this team comes together, and now, like you said, with these guys, we're just getting more depth in this team, and it's great to see, and I think this team's definitely going to start getting further and further and getting better ranked as this second part of the season goes.
Next up, we only have 3 more guys. We're saving your favorite player for last 2. Anthony Munoz is up next, and he's the backup goalie here, and he's a guy that's come in to relief for Corey Hirschchuk and giving him some days off, and he's been pretty solid back there. You can't really complain about anything that he's done, Matt.
Yeah, for sure. When he definitely had to do the backup role, I think it was in Ohio. I forget which team it was, but I wasn't sure yet how he was going to perform because he just was put in there at the last second. And we just didn't know what was going to happen. The kid looked relaxed from the first shot to the last save of the game. He just went in there like, "Hey, this is what I do. You don't got to worry about it. I got this. If Hirschchuk gets injured, don't worry. Put me in, and I'll be ready to go." And that's one good thing, and many that you need from a goaltender, especially a backup, is at any moment, anytime he's got to go in, he'll be ready, he'll be set, and he'll be relaxed, trying to get that win for you.
And then the final forward on the list will be the speedy Billy Coker. I know he was injured toward the end there, and that's a guy that you look, you have Davenport coming up twice. They've got some new guys in there. You've got Minot State coming up twice at Minot State. You've got Liberty coming up twice at Liberty. Those are games Billy Coker is going to thrive in. Those games that are physical and, where he can really go to bat and defend his team. And, I love Billy Coker out there. That is, like, you talk about, everyone loves that type of a player that's going to be able to do all those things. And he's got speed, too. What more can you want, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a player that you're going to need for Adrian and Liberty because those two teams are aggressive. And Liberty's been kind of tough on us this season thus far, but we'll try to get him in the second semester here as we head on over there this time. And but yeah, he's definitely a player that loves the challenge when a game gets physical, and he will not back away from it. And that's one of the players that if the game's kind of getting a little bit out of control with hitting, you send him out there and he'll start to bring it back to the even playing field. So I think it's like I said, between the depth, goalies who can back each other up. The defensemen are back on track, and along with this kid, it's going to be a fun and exciting second part of the season.
All right, final player here is, we all know he's your favorite player, so we're not even going to try to deny it, and that is number 55, John Baker. And I know he's an offensive defenseman, and I know he wants to get it going here in terms of getting some goals. He's looking for that first one. And for an offensive defenseman, I know he's struggling a bit this season, but boom, John Baker talked about opportunity, and we'll explain more as we go on about all this opportunity stuff, especially on the air on Wednesday or on Friday at Western Michigan about why this is so important. But it's another defenseman with a chance for opportunity, John Baker.
Yeah, and I've made my presence well known. That Baker's one of my favorite players on the team. A lot of reasons, but one of the main ones is he's very vocal. If the team needs a little bit of uplifting, we've heard him before, like right before a period starts, he'll be yelling at the players on the bench in a positive way to get them going, to get them, jacked up and ready. A lot of times, if there's somebody in front of Hurst-Chuck in front of the net, he'll definitely make sure that they get out of the way, and he'll stand his ground. Somebody's pushing him to let them know, hey, you're not going to touch Hurst-Chuck or anything. He's definitely somebody that if he can get a slap shot off, so he's up, and he's just an overall aggressive player that is very vocal and wants to win. And anytime he's out in the lineup, you know that it's going to be a game where Oakland stands a chance of winning.
All right, Matt Kenzie, your final thoughts here as we wrap up here.
Let's go. I'm ready for the second semester to start. That's pretty much it.
All right, so Oakland and Western Michigan, Friday and Saturday. They have a couple of tough games. They're looking to get the good luck duck, and hopefully all that works. And then you have conference playoffs at home. They're in good position despite everything that's happened. I would approach it as your 0-0. Again, here's the key word: opportunity. There's lots of opportunity left to get yourselves forward. You have some teams in front of you that have some tough games. I know Arizona has Oklahoma coming up. So certainly if Arizona wins those games, that makes your position from Oakland tougher. As much as we love former head coach Sean Hogan, we really do need Arizona to lose those games. So, I mean, it sucks what we're doing here, but it's just kind of the position that you're in, and you're in your position by no one's fault but your own, and now you have a great opportunity to storm back, and it is very, very possible with the way the rankings are. You can jump 4 spots in a week. You get some wins, but in order to do that, with all due respect to teams who are not ranked, if you're Oakland and you're playing a team who's not ranked, you have to really go in and blow them out. I mean, you can't be having any 1, 2, 3 goal wins and things like that, and you can't have a loss. You don't have room for any more slip-up losses. So, all right, Matt. Well, we'll see you on Friday night in Kalamazoo.
I think we'll do that for sure.
All right, that's Matt Kenzie, color analyst of Oakland Hockey, joining us here on the Black and Gold Report on oaklandhockey.org. And we'll see you guys on Friday night.